To create a session profile, open the relevant tab in the left-hand menu and click on Add. Give the profile a name, choose an icon, and enter a short description if needed. At this stage, it is best practice to keep the session profile disabled. If it is enabled immediately, it becomes available for drivers to select, so you want to make sure everything is fully configured before turning it on. Once the basic information is set, you can click on Add Profile, and you can move on to defining priorities by selecting the session profile and clicking on Add Priority. Priorities are the core of a session profile and need to be configured carefully, as they determine which tasks will be suggested to drivers and in what order. Each priority belongs to a specific category, which defines the type of tasks it targets. Rebalancing Pickup filters tasks related only to collecting vehicles. Rebalancing Deliver focuses on delivering vehicles. Battery Swap covers replacing low or empty batteries. Maintenance Repair is used for repairing damaged assets in the field. Intervention refers to system-defined intervention states. For example, if a missing state is configured as an intervention, drivers using an intervention-focused session profile will receive tasks related to missing vehicles. Battery Pickup is used for collecting batteries. Custom Task is intended for tasks that do not fit into any standard category and is typically used for uncommon or one-off situations. Distance Far limits task suggestions to those located far from the driver's current position and is often used to prioritize work outside central or high-density areas. After selecting a category, you define what this category should target. Depending on the use case, priorities can target stations, vehicles, warehouses, and areas. Next, you set the importance of the priority. Importance works on a scale from never up to critical. This scale allows you to either discourage or strongly enforce specific actions. For example, if you want to ensure that drivers do not pick up vehicles during the morning, you can set the rebalancing pickup to never for that period, effectively preventing those tasks from being suggested. When configuring the time and period for a priority, you can first choose which days of the week it should be active. If the priority should apply at all times, simply keep all days selected. You can also control when during the day or during the driver's shift the priority is active. This is done by choosing between absolute and relative time. When absolute is selected, the time setting refers to specific hours of the day. For example, if you want the priority to be active only in the morning, you can set it to start at 7 and end at 12. And in this case, the priority will apply only during these hours. When relative is selected, the time setting refers to hours within the driver's shift. For example, if you want the priority to be active during the first 3 hours of driver's shift, you can configure it as relative and adjust the time accordingly. You can use filters within the priority to fine-tune it down to very specific conditions. You can either select one of the existing filters or create a new one directly from within the priority. The list of available filters is not context-aware. This means that the filter list does not change based on the targets you select, unlike the filter lists that you can find in the map view. Adding filters to session profile priorities is meant to be intuitive. A filter further narrows down what the priority applies to. For example, if you configure a rebalancing pickup, keep all the targets selected, select the importance to normal, and apply a filter such as damage count, any, then the driver will receive pickup tasks only for vehicles that have recorded damage. However, this is also where extra care is required because, for example, if you select a filter like stations with broken vehicles, you might expect the priority to target broken vehicles. In reality, the priority targets stations that contain broken vehicles. This does not guarantee that the task itself will be to pick up a broken vehicle, as there may be also non-broken vehicles at that station. Because of this, it is important to be deliberate and think through how filters interact with targets and task generation. Misaligned filters can easily lead to priorities behaving in unexpected ways. You can choose whether the priority is required or preferred. If a priority is set to required, drivers using this session profile will receive only tasks that match this priority, restricting the types of tasks that can be suggested to them automatically by the system. If a priority is set to preferred, the system will favor tasks matching this priority without restricting the driver to them. If this is the only priority in the session profile, then the driver can still receive other types of tasks, with this one simply being weighted higher. In short, required restricts task types, while preferred expresses a preference without enforcing a restriction. And now that we have all of the conditions within the priority setup, we can click on Save. And if we are happy with having just this one priority set in this session profile, we can now enable it. As soon as the session profile is enabled, the drivers will be able to see it at the start of their shift. In the next video, we will go through a more realistic example of a session profile, which contains multiple priorities, so you can get a better understanding on how session profiles can be used to their best abilities.